Stitches beat Dirt on the other field. Leading off, it's going to be Hugo. Click, of course, the favorite, the high seed. Coming in, we just showed you them. A little bit of a struggle to get past that. Sorry, folks, I'm battling my lineup card here. So here's Hugo, little ground ball, second baseman, nice play. Backhands it over for out number one. And that's how the game will start. We saw the second baseman do something very similar in that earlier broadcast. So here we are, back live again. Here's Pat. So the Stitches beat up on Dirt. Dirt pulled the big upset. They beat the 2 seed in the tournament. And that's how they got to the semi, but didn't have enough to get past this Stitches team. Okay, we're all squared away, so here's Pat now. Let's see if now that we're in a championship game, like we said, Click owned that first part of the previous game. And there's a little roller. Too much stuff. Catching a little grief because I didn't stop that roller, but between the stick, the battery cables, the 2 phones, I just couldn't get there. So Pat trying to get on here. And that pitch is a little flat. And there's a ground ball deflected by Carl, but it sneaks through. First base runner for this Stitches team. Again, we are only in the top of the first, just underway. It's going to bring up Sam. 1 out, 1 on. And like I said, Click was the better team the first half of the game, but not the second half, and they just held on, and that ball skips on Jeremy into no man's land. Good base running there by Sam as he was hustling all the way. Second and third here, nobody out. Brings up Kiko. So first scoring chance of the evening goes to Stitches. And there's a little ground ball to second. Second baseman had an issue, but they do get the out at first. Oh, I'm sorry, that was Hector. Who makes the third out as he grounds out. He was hustling. Little bobble didn't matter. And we're going to head to the bottom of the first. No score. So Click has gone the same way that they did in the semifinal. Joe Jake Jules coming up here. Again, they got off to a fast start in that semifinal game, but just couldn't continue it. Sticks made a game of it, but they fell a little bit short. For those of you tuning in, this is Chicago's 16-inch style softball. You are seeing it correct, no gloves. And here's Joe. We'll get to some more rules for you. Little chopper, pitcher handles it himself, makes the play for out number one. 60-foot bases. You can lead off, you can't steal. 38 from the rubber to home, 1-1 count. 6-12 on the arc. Pitcher gets a drag step. That's one step left, right, or back. And here's Jake. He gets two fakes or hesitation. Third arm action, has to deliver the ball to the plate. A throw or a fake to a base is one of those fakes or hesitations. And there's a one-out walk. Oh, he called it a strike. Full count. We are playing 1-1 tonight. And we use heavy bats. Can weigh up to 38 ounces, 34 inches long, 2 1/4 on the barrel. And Jake guides it up the middle, short center, a bobble throw, and they call him out. You can rewind the tape. 2 outs, and it brings up Julian.
Go to the replay.
So the ball skipped a little bit. The short center hung in there. He did bobble it a little bit. No, not you, the short center. The short center. First baseman thought I was talking about him. Here's Julian. So first mini, shortstop, long throw, not in time. 2-out base runner. Brings up George.
I was right, George.
So now that tight play there at first, we'll see if it plays a role in the rest of this inning. And there's a chopper off the pitcher to the second baseman, and he makes the play for the third out. So George grounds out to end the inning. We'll head to the second, no score. So both teams got a base runner but couldn't do anything with it as we head to the second. It's going to be Lewis, Rick, and Morgan coming up here for Stitches. And the whole Sticks team hanging out watching the game. The Dirt team is still sitting in the third base dugout down by field 3. So here's Lewis. My good friend George Gophus, my man. We got to get to Cheyenne and we got to get together. So there's a long ball. He puts a charge into it, but Holtzman jogs back and makes the play. So good ride, but Holtzman has been a pretty solid outfielder for a long time. Got back there and made it look easy. So here's Rick. Got a championship game. And I think every inning that goes on and Stitches keeps it close, I think the pressure shifts over to Click a little bit because they are favored. They have a lot of guys that played major ball on their team. And I don't recognize any of these Stitches guys as having been major players. Nice play by Carl. As he made the catch, knew he had time, did a little pirouette and threw right on the money. That brings up Morgan.
Start us off, kid. Start us off.
Little inside there. Top of the second inning here. And there's a flare that'll be well out of play. And there's a swing and a little flare to right, and he paints the line as he just flipped it down there, base hit.
Go, Teddy.
So here comes Ted with Kinsey on deck. So 2-out base runner. Stitches have had a base runner now in both innings. And he hits a ground ball, third baseman, long throw in time. So George pretty solid over there. Made the play, so Teddy grounds out. And we'll head to the bottom of the second, still no score. Coming up for Click, it's going to be Carl, Zach, and Matt.
Do it.
So Carl leading off. Hits a little ground ball. First baseman, little fumble. Safe. Pitcher Hugo was there. First baseman tried to beat Carl to the bag. Of course, Carl, now he looks like he may have pulled a calf. Might be cramping up a little bit, it looks like. It's that time of the year, everybody's a little beat up. So they'll get a courtesy runner for him. Brings up Zach. So leadoff man on here. Hugo grab. We're seeing a lot of left. This is our second left-handed pitcher that we've seen. There aren't that many of them, but Carl and Hugo, both lefties. I'm not a big fan of left-handed pitchers at the major level. I just don't think they can get, and there's a high fly ball. No tag, and they'll throw it in. I just don't think that with the drag step, they can do enough to affect right-handed hitters, which is really makes up about 75 to 80% of the guys in softball. Just my personal preference. Brings up Matt with Joe on deck. And there's a ground ball to second. He fumbles it, but he'll recover to get at least one. Might have rushed himself a hair there, but he did recover. Brings up Joe. So 2 outs now. Runner in scoring position. Jake will score on a base hit. And there's a hard ground ball. What a play right in front of us. Diving catch by the first baseman of a hard hit ball, and he scrambled to first for the third out.
Slow-mo before the commercial.
Nicely played, and he robs Joe of a potential RBI single. And I tell you, he laid out for that, caught it in his hands, hit the ground, and this was an NFL game. They would tell you that there was no movement of the ball.
Nice team top.
So we're going to head to the top of the third now. We're locked in a scoreless tie. And speaking of the devil, here comes Kinsey, the first baseman, to lead off. Be followed by Tim. And then they'll be back to the top and Hugo. So 2 full innings in the book. Neither team's been able to break the seal. Carl drops that in. So the way this is going here puts a little more emphasis on your defense. And there's a slow chopper. Carl, long throw, not in time, skips past. Leadoff man on.
Run it. Hey, head to head. You're here.
So Carl looked like he was in between there, like he didn't know if he should go for it or let Jeremy come in and try to make the play. He elected to field the ball. Here's Tim. Long throw, he bounced it in. Big lead here by Kinsey. And there's a little soft pop-up. Holtzman running in, makes the catch for out number 1. And they're back to the top with Hugo. So Hugo, who throws lefty, also bats lefty. Of course, Carl throws lefty, but he's hitting right-handed. And there's a little flare the other way, well out of play. So Hugo trying to punch it the other way there. And you know, my thoughts are a lot of times with lefties that like to slap, they're at a big disadvantage because when there's a runner on first, doesn't matter how fast you are, the left side of the infield can always go the short way to second. And Kinsey might know that because he's being very aggressive on his leads. And there he tries to pull a ball, foul, that'll go as a strikeout. 1-1 count, you can't hit a foul ball. And the crowd goes nuts. So 2 outs there. Brings up Pat. So far here in the first 3 innings, Stitches have had at least 1 base runner. They have not been able to put 2 on. See if that trend continues. And there's a little punch shot. Holtzman makes the play for out number 3. So Stitches, they keep putting 1 guy on but can't string anything together. And we head to the bottom of the 3rd. Championship game here. Like I said, as each inning goes by, puts more emphasis on your defense. If you're the Stitches, you haven't scored, but on the flip side, either has click. So if you can get deeper into the game, up or down a run or 2, then you just got to figure out how you're going to try to steal it. So it's going to be Nick, Jeremy, and Andrew Holtzman. And there's the man himself, Hopper, coaching first.
All right, boys. Come on, Nick. Let's go, buddy. Let it toast, Nick. Let it toast. Yeah, I was like, I should have told him I had it.
So Nick, Jeremy, and Andrew Holtzman here, bottom 3rd of the lineup for Click. And there's a ground ball, shortstop, long throw in time. Nice play by the shortstop. He's got a nice release, picked it up, fluid motion, just flicked it over. Brings up Jeremy. He had a few hits in that first game. Of course, the first time we saw Jeremy, he was playing with the Park League Heroes. There's a line drive, and the shortstop went down on a knee. That was kind of a sinking line drive, and didn't look like it might have short hopped him, but he couldn't make the play. It brings up Andrew Holtzman. And this was a big part of that Click win in the first game. Their bottom part of the lineup got on a few times. And Holtzman smokes a line drive. Oh! The right, that's going to go out of play, temporarily saving a run. That's just bad luck. The right field, you can see the left fielder right there in the white shirt. Right at the last moment, as he was running toward the line, he had to alter his body position to avoid that left fielder, and the ball hit him in the shoulder, chest area, and bounced out of play. So second and third here with one out, and it brings up Joe. Big break for Click, line drive, knocked down by the third baseman, throw, and they called him safe at first. And another bang bang call at first. You can rewind the tape, as they say. Brings up Jake. The bases are loaded. One out. So both teams may have caught a break on a call at first. And there's a hump back into the gap. One run is in. 2 runs are in. 3 runs are in. Jake is going to get himself a grand slam. 4-0 Click. So that's how fast an inning can change. Still only one out here. Little sinking line drive, and then couple that with the weird play in right where the fielder was almost kind of in the way out there from the other diamond. And all of a sudden, Stitches finds themselves in a 4-run hole here in the bottom of the third. So Click getting a few breaks, and Julian goes the other way. And there's another example where the outfielder was about to take a deeper route on that, and the left fielder, though, is kind of in the way, and he had to, again, change the route, and it was too shallow. So you'd score it as a double, but Click certainly getting a few breaks this inning. And they've hit the ball twice now toward that left fielder. Shortstop gets a hand on it. Julian's going to score 5-0. And I know Halloween is creeping up, and this has certainly been a nightmare on Damon Street. So base hit there by George, and it brings up Carl. So only one out here. And there's another nice play by Kinsey at first. He's got some good hands, folks. But a nightmare of an inning there. Carl lines out for the third out of the inning. 5-0 as we head to the top of the fourth. So Stitches caught some bad breaks that inning. And Click took advantage of every single one of them. The big blow, Jake hitting the grand slam into left center field. And that was certainly the hardest hit ball that we've seen on this diamond tonight. Got a flat pitch from Hugo and he didn't miss it. So it's Sam, Kiko, and Hector. I guess if you're down 5 in the fourth, 3, 4, 5 is a good place to be in your lineup. And again, through 3, they haven't been able to put more than one runner on, so they need to crank up the offense after they slaughtered Dirt. This game been a little different story for them offensively. And there's a hard ground ball, leadoff man on. And again, at this point, even though it's early, your mindset changes a little bit. If it's still
On the broadcast, make sure you know that Sammy's one of the UN's finest, though, sir. I got you, Sam. I got you, dude.
so giving the leadoff man Sam a little bit of pub here on the broadcast. And there's a swing toward the gap. That's down. And that's going to split the gap. Jobo way back there. One run is in, and they're going to hold him. The relay got away from Julian, but with nobody out, discretion, the better part of valor, 5-1. So Kiko hits a rocket into right center, and Stitches breaks the seal, and it brings up Hector. So again, you always want to keep contact. You don't want teams running out on you. And there's a swing and a base hit. And the right fielder again had to kind of dodge the left fielder on the other field. And another run scores, and it's 5-2 now. Stitches. Still nobody out here. Brings up Luis. And I got to tell you, both teams should be taking an eye out into that right field area, because the right fielder is not playing that deep on both teams, and he's running into a problem. Andrew Holtzman in left is much deeper than the right fielder on the other diamond where they're also playing. And there's a long one, but right at Holtzman, and that'll be out number one. So as a result, I'm going to show you the positioning. They're almost on the same plane there. He started jogging in, but that's the problem. In left field, Andrew, confident of his ability to read and come in, is playing deeper than the right fielder on field two. So that's going to bring up Rick now, one out here. 2 runs in, runner on first. And Carl has done a pretty good job. He hasn't given up any big innings. So even when 2 or 3 guys have gotten on in this inning and last game, he's been able to kind of keep the damage to 1 or 2 runs. And Click now, they scored that 5. They had a big bottom of the first in the first game, and there's a flare to Jobo, and that'll be out number 2. So it brings Morgan up. So they had 2 in, a runner on first, nobody out. Now there's 2 outs, runner on first. But they have cut into the lead a little bit. And we'll see if Click. And there's a swing and a base hit. Hector's going to have to stop at second. And it brings up Ted. Now Hector not the fleetest of foot at second. I would think that Ted gets a hit, it would have to be more toward an alley to assure that he would score. That's going to be way out of play. And Ted let that ball get a little deep. He was going to try to inside out it. But really the barrel of the bat had dipped. And at the angle where the bat was at when he started that swing, he was going to have no chance of hitting a fair ball there. So now with 2 strikes, his job is to keep the ball between the white lines and give himself a chance to get on and maybe score a run here. And that's going to be a foul out, and they let it drop. So Ted fouls out trying to go to the right side twice, but in the inning they push a couple across. And we head to the bottom of the 4th, 5-2 Click. So that's always one of the problems. A lot of the parks here in Chicago play out of the corners instead of playing center out. And as a result, you get a lot of confusion and chaos at times. So when you're playing 16-inch softball and you get some big, strong guys in the park, you always run into it. So we'll show you this again. You got a right fielder, left fielder, and now the left fielder's backed up, but there's been a lot of confusion. If I was Click, I would just keep pounding the ball over there. Leadoff man off of Hugo, second baseman, can't make the play. So Zach leads off with a hit off of Hugo. Second baseman tried to make a nice play. Kinsey tried to one-hand it. Just couldn't hold on, and here's Matt. And Matt strokes a line drive, and they're going to get the double play. Nice catch by the second baseman. Zach kind of gave up because he thought he was dead meat. The throw wasn't great, but they get the double play, and it brings up Joe. And that's all you want to do if you're Stitches. You want to keep yourself in the ball game within contact.
Hey, Joe, come on. Whatever you want.
And there he grabs a strike, full count. And Joe guides it to center, and he makes the catch. Kiko got the big hit last inning when he tripled to score 2. And he's a big dude playing center field. Closed a lot of ground there. So Joe flies out. Nice play by Kiko. And we're going to head to the top of the 5th in a 3-run ball game. And it's going to be Kinsey, Tim in the top with Hugo. I know, talking with a few of the guys, some of the guys on Click who play quite a bit during the summer were all talking about how they were kind of glad that their fall ball seasons were going to end today because they were a little beat up. I know Joe out in center, Joe Moran, was talking about how his calf has been starting to tighten up on him late in the year, and he's just trying to get through one more day. So here's Kinsey. And he hits a hard ground ball to Jeremy. Nice hop. Strong throw in time for out number 1.
Nice work, Coach. Nice work. You hit the ball right.
Again, for fall ball, very pleasant weather. I'd like to import some of this over to Harrison Park for the Turkey Bowl. Thanksgiving Day, another event we'll be at. And here's Tim. Hugo on deck. And there's a hard ground ball. Julian, a little double pump, can't make the play.
Yeah, dude. Way to move.
One out hit, and here comes the top with Hugo. So good ball. That's the toughest play for a short center when you're going to your right and you're angled toward the outfield to have to make a catch and throw across your body. So one out base runner here for the Stitches. And Hugo hits a pop up to third. And that'll be out number 2. And it brings up Pat.
Back to space, back. Come on.
Back-to-back lefties at the top of the Stitch lineup. And there's a little chopper to first. He takes it into his midsection for the third out. So we head now to the bottom half of the inning, still 5-2. So bottom of the fifth here.
Bottom 5, D. Bottom 5. Keep it tight.
Again, if you're the Stitches, you're just trying to keep it here. And then you'll worry about everything else later. So I believe this is a pinch hitter, Scotty, as I'd like to call him, the Pistol Pete Corral lookalike. So pinch hitter here, Jeremy on deck. He's hitting for Nick. And he walks the dog down the right field line, foul! So that dog wouldn't hunt. It was a good looking swing. Dropped the head just enough to get that crazy sideways spin. Looked like a curveball heading out there and just couldn't land it. That's a ball where probably one of the best I ever saw it was Keith Filkins. And Keith would get way down, hit the ball off the ground. His bat was in a horrible position, and here's back-to-back balls running through our infield. But he would literally start it off the right shoulder of the second baseman, and he would bend it like Beckham and nestle it inside the foul line. Not too many guys who have ever played this game as good as Keith Filkins. So Scotty on the reset and hits another one, and it doesn't matter because he had 2 strikes. Brings up Jeremy. You might have heard Kinsey go, oh, and then he said, oh, it doesn't matter, 2 strikes. But not too many were better than Keith Filkins, if any. And got the pleasure to manage him one year with Flashback. And even though he had a little mileage on him, he was still one of the best players in the game. So Hugo hasn't done a bad job either. We talked a little bit about Carl, but aside from 2 crazy plays in right field, and maybe a line drive that might have should have been caught. And Jeremy dumps it in front of Kiko for a base hit. Brings up Holtzman, so another hit for Jeremy. And they might be playing Jeremy a hair deep. He's not really a power guy. And he's certainly, if he has any, he's not going to generate it. Here's Holtzman, sky high. And that's trouble. But the second baseman, a long way out there, short center got turned around. Kiko was looking at the short center. I don't know if he realized the second baseman was going to make that play. So 2 outs. Jeremy will score on a stretch single. So like I said, Hugo's done a good job too. And Jobo leans on one, but the right fielder on the edge of the dirt down there makes the catch. So we head to the top of the 6th. Stitches doing what they need to do. They're hanging around. Jobo gave it a ride, but not enough. And it's going to be Sam, Kiko, and Hector. The last time these 3 guys came up in this order, Stitches did push a couple of runs across. So, you know, they're hoping for a case of deja vu here.
Stay hot. Stay hot.
Kiko, me.
Nick in for Ted.
Nick in for Ted?
Yep.
Okay. So there's going to be a change later on.
Yo, look alive. Let's get hot. Let's get hot.
As Nick will be entering the ball game for Ted, who's the 9th place hitter. But we're a few hitters away from that. Sammy leading off here.
All right, Sam. Come on, buddy.
So through 5 innings here, Stitch is just kind of grinding along here, trying to find that little bit more offense as Click is hanging around and keeping them in the ball game here. Again, all 5 of those runs scored by Click in the same inning. And there's a little chopper over to Carl, turns and throws in time for the first out here in the top of the 6th.
First pitch is right there.
So that's going to bring Kiko up. Hector on deck. And they're playing him deep. And this time he scalds it. Julian, long throw in time. And that's why Julian is considered one of the better players in the game today. Long throw, he just snapped it off right on the money. That's a nice play. He got kind of had to go to his right, and he got kind of an in-between hop on it. No chance to charge it. And fired it flat foot off his back foot there.
Been there since we got here.
And there's a ground ball to second. Little bobble, but plenty of time to get Hector. So we'll go bottom of the 6th. Stitch is running out of outs here. They're going to need a big rally in the 7th. And they really need a goose egg here in order to give themselves an opportunity in that 7th. And in the 7th, they'll be at 6, 7, 8 in their lineup. Meanwhile, Click has got 2, 3, 4 coming up, Jake, Jules, and George. Click 3 defensive outs away from winning the Hamlin Park Fall Ball Championship. And there's a overhand slap to the shortstop. That's going to be a wide throw. Leadoff man on. So Jake had that overhand swing. He's fallen out of the box toward first on it. Ran hard, put a little pressure on. Shortstop threw a little bit of a screwball. And here's Julian. And he tries to go to center, and that's trouble. Splits the gap. First, it looked like it might have just been a fly ball, perfectly placed. 2-run homer for Julian, and Click picks up some needed insurance as they push the lead back to 5 on a 2-run homer to right center. That ball carried pretty good. Brings up George, so infield single and then the home run. So they've got 6 of their 7 on 2 swings. A grand slam and now a 2-run homer. And George hits it hard, big hop, shortstop comes up throwing. That'll be out number 1. So a hot shot to the shortstop. A little bit of a juggle, but he recovered. for the first out, and here's Carl. Umpire called that illegal. Thought it was above the 12-foot limit. Now he's 3-1 here. Jeopardy a walk and a hitter. Delivers a strike, full. And Carl, little ground ball, second baseman from his knees, not in time. So the third hitter in a row to reach now brings up Zach. And I think Carl might be looking for a runner. No, they're not sending anybody out. Apparently I missed an out somewhere. Oh yeah, George made an out. So that brings up Zachary.
You're a hitter, you're a hitter.
And there's a base hit. Runners on the corner with one out. Take that back. I don't think that was that might have been a pinch hitter there. One out now. Brings up Matt with Joe on deck. So Click doing what they have to this inning. And that's going to be a fly ball. We'll see if they send the runner, throw to the plate. Oh, he would have been out, but Hector can't catch the throw. 2 outs, they scored a run. Carl would have been out by about 2 steps there, but the catcher dropped a perfect throw. And it's now 8-2. 2 outs, though. And the pinch hitter here for Joe is Omar. And he drives it toward the gap, but right fielder can't make the catch. He got there okay, but then he dropped it. So 9-2. 6-run inning here. I take that back. 4-run inning. And it brings up Scotty, his second at-bat of the ball game. So 9-2. 4 big runs this inning. And Scotty, another hit. Make that 5, their second 5-run inning of the ball game. They go up 10-2, and they've broken this open here in the bottom of the 6th. And here comes Jeremy. 2 outs here.
1 or 2, get the out.
So Stitches, basically 2 bad innings in this ball game. And there's a swing and a base hit. Jeremy just keeps finding his way on tonight. That time he cut the ball to left, and it brings up Andrew Holtzman.
Back, keep it in front, fellas. Get up. 1, 2, 3 here. Back.
Wasn't much of a fake to try to pick Scotty off. He's standing about 6 inches off the bag over there. And Holtzman drives it through the third baseman. Tried to kind of make a basket catch off his left hip, and ball slithered through. Bases are loaded for Joe. 5 runs already in this bottom of the 6th, so they've broken it open. And Joe comes through with a base hit. 1 run is in, 2 runs are in. And they'll hold Holtzman 12-2, and that should be the ball game. If they're playing mercy rule. I don't know if they realize it, but it's a 10-run game now. And I was told that they had the mercy rule. 12-2. 7-run inning. 2 outs, and now Hopper is going to pinch hit for Jake. So Click and Hopper, little ground ball, and they'll take the short out at second. But in the inning, 7 runs, they break it open. Do or die 7th. They need 10 to tie, 11 to take the lead. Anything less, and Click will be your Hamlin Park fall ball champs.
Louis, Rick, Morgan.
So it's going to be Luis, Rick, and Morgan. Anybody gets on, Nick will get his first at bat of the ball game. And Stitches hung in there for the first 5 innings, just really couldn't generate any offense. And Click, 2 big innings.
Come on now, Louie.
Went dry 4 times, but they got to 12.
On the ground, let's go. Up the middle.
And there's a little soft pop-up. Joe is there for out number 1. So that 7-run inning, whatever starch the Stitches had left, looks like it's gone now. Brings up Rick, who's had a adventure in right field, trying to avoid the left fielder from the other diamond. And there's a sweeper back to Carl. That'll be out number 2. Now they're down to their last out, and Morgan with Nick on deck looking for his first swing of the night. So we told you coming in, Click was going to be favored, and he flips it and juggling catch, and that'll do it. Click wins the Hamlin Park Championship here this fall. Snuck past the Sticks and then beat the Stitches. So we'll take a couple of photos. We'll put them up